But just the start of the news review, and we're joined by, you guessed right, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. He is a political scientist. He is also head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, welcome aboard.
Yaura. Sweetie, Michiao, Mawache.
Meji also, Doc.
Anyway, so Doc, yes, please go ahead with your thoughts. You know, Sweetie, before we go to Doc, this thing got me interested. The bit about Freddie Blaze saying his son had put in a bid, 150 million to 200 million. Technically, there was no mention of whether it was cedis or dollars, but I hear it was, the quotations were in dollars, right? And we hear Rock City proposed, what, 60 million or something of the sort? So the question then is, if there was a bid as high as that, why did that one not win it? And people are asking, 34-year-old amassing such wealth. But of course, there was a South African entity and support from some banks and I think a hotel or whatever. But people are questioning that maybe Freddie Wasimeu should have just let sleeping dogs lie. With this bid, I've seen a lot of people posting on it and wondering, Charlie, what they go on? It's kind of, I say, one corner.
I say, just show us, Benjamin. Show us the papers. Show us the evidence.
And snip.
Proof. No, it's not about talk shop. It's about the evidence.
You know. Now we've, as the multimedia group, Joy News, we've gone to SNIT, RTI.
Yes.
Because we want the details of, and SNIT say there be that.
Trust but verify, Benjamin. We just want to verify. So show us the proof. Anyway,
Dr. Asah-Asante, over to you for your thoughts on not necessarily on this, on anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I want to touch on something which is critical to free and fair elections. And what is it? It's about manifesto. Manifestos are policy statements of political parties. They give us the ideas, the programs that political parties have for the people that they serve. So one would expect political parties at all times to, as soon as they get ready for electoral contests, they make manifestos available. Manifestos provide important guides for voters into understanding what is it that they have relative to their problems and how best they can solve them for them. And this is a critical factor when voters decide who to vote for. They look at your manifesto and realize that they resonate with them. They are going to address their problems. Obviously, they will gravitate towards that manifesto and then express themselves by voting yes for the bearer of that manifesto. We are not seeing 5 months to elections, and none of the political parties has come out with a manifesto. My advice to them that the earlier, the better. They should bring it so that we interrogate it, and then that will inform voter choices. It is important than rushing it on us and all that. That one, you lose the very essence of what you want to communicate. And at the end of the day, all the important things within the manifesto get lost.
Right. And the Alliance for Revolutionary Change, they launched what they're calling the Great Transformational Plan. They say they're not going to launch a proper manifesto. This is their vision for what they intend to do to break away from the duopoly, to, propel the development agenda of the country. So that has been launched. I think it was launched on Monday. So they are the only ones who've actually brought out a vision of what they intend to do if they're giving the North come December 7. I just wanted to chip that in.
As for the duopoly, they cannot break it, but let's move on.
But they're doing something.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. On the front page, at Graphic Business Stanbic breakfast meeting, which was live on the AM show yesterday, we need bailout. Farmers, agribusiness purveyors demand of government. Wasimal practice on the rise, a study reveals. We must work towards food sufficiency, food self-sufficiency. That is a Graphic MD rallying Ghanaians at the Stanbic breakfast meeting. Let's get into the paper now. I'll start from the story of the bailout because agriculture, these farmers, is important to us. Discussants at the Graphic Business Stanbic breakfast meeting have urged the government to bail out private enterprises in the agricultural sector as a means to address food security in the face of rising food inflation. The three-member panel of the discussants with expertise in agricultural value chain were of the view that the government must shift from the piecemeal approach to investment in the sector and rather adopt a comprehensive investment model that will tackle all the challenges in the sector. That's what they're saying, because we have a lot of papers this morning, so I'll do 3 stories from the Daily Graphic, then I'll come to you. Just 3 stories in each paper. There's this ongoing brouhaha in Kenya over the tax proposals that has triggered protests. Residents stormed the parliament yesterday, and this morning we brought on the news that the ambassador to Kenya is advising all Ghanaians who want to travel to be cautious because the place is not very calm right now. So let me just get through that story. Kenyan protesters yesterday over a new finance bill that introduces unpopular tax proposals that have drawn a lot of anger across the nation. The controversial bill, which has provisions that are seen as imposing extra burdens on ordinary citizens and businesses, has sparked a huge outcry from a public already burdened with a high cost of living. And this is everywhere now, not just Kenya, it's Ghana, but I mean, that's them taking matters into their own hands. We must work toward food self-sufficiency. Stalled projects will resume soon. I'll do that. President Akufo-Addo assures. President Akufo-Addo has stated that many of the country's stalled projects will soon resume, thanks to the successful negotiations regarding the restructuring of Ghana's debt. Speaking at the presentation of credentials to 9 newly appointed diplomats at the Jubilee House last Monday, the president detailed the positive outcomes of the negotiations and their implications for Ghana's development. And he was saying that he's been vindicated. He did say that they know how to turn the economy around, and they've done that. Later on, we probe that issue and whether or not ending these bailouts or these negotiations with Euro bondholders is actually going to reflect in, the economy that we have right now. But those are just some 3 stories from the Daily Graphic for your reaction, Doc, before I get to other papers.
Yes, I will look at the Kenyan story. The good news is what you brought to us this morning, and that our MPs are safe and they are preparing back home. Great news. Some of these things can take you off guard, and it's unfortunate. And I am also happy with the question by the High Commissioner, and that is the work of a diplomat. So he's really done a good job, and we should take the advice seriously. That said, I want to move on to stalled projects. I am happy that this government have found a need to come back to stalled projects. The Constitution makes it abundantly clear that there is always the need for us to ensure value for money, and that any time government starts any projects, it is incumbent upon succeeding government to continue from where they left off. Because of unnecessary politics and wicked intentions, political parties, as soon as they grab power, they abandon projects of their predecessors. That is unfortunate. People have done studies on all those projects that are in the bush, and you realize that it's a whole lot of money that has gone down the drain. So going forward, I think we as a society should push it down the throat of politicians so that it manifests in their manifestos, and then we force them to implement them. On this call, I believe that we should be able as a society to have a body that will make sure that any manifesto that is drawn up by any political party, it goes through that body, which also is a reflection of the development plan of the country. Because we spend so much money in developing a development plan. And at the end of the day, no party is interested in incorporating that into its manifesto. So you have things like this, which is firmly place in the Constitution and by extension in the development plan, it is thrown away. So we should be able to make sure that these things get to their proper places, and then we get the best from this. The bailout on agriculture is a good call because farmers are suffering. Society, we are also suffering. Producers are suffering. Buyers are suffering. So I think the government must do very well to ensure that this is not just one of the empty talks, but that they will walk the talk and bail out, create a bailout for farmers and all that. Can you imagine Nkrumah's Ghana? For all places with arable lands, and we import tomato from a desert area. Oh, Jesus Christ. Don't come now. It is a problem. It is a problem because I'm trying to wrap my hand around my brain, but it's difficult because why on earth can this happen when you have arable lands, very suitable for production of what? All the things you need, and yet you import tomato from Burkina Faso, you import cocoa beans from what?
I'm here with Obama.
Right.
Jesus Christ, shame on us. We need to up our game.
On that note, Doc, I'll move on to another paper because I think Jesus heard you. He's not coming down anytime soon. Let's get to the custodian.
And you know that for a fact.
What?
And you know that for a fact.
I'm called Christiana, right? I'm a follower of Christ. Me and Jesus. The custodian newspaper now. NPP UK raised 23 million Ghana cedis. Declare your stance on free SHS bill. That is Apenyo marking challenging minority. Nima Paloma drain reconstruction starts. UCC honors Yoko boss. Let's start from Apenyo marking, who's asking the minority to declare their stance. But I think they've already done that. Remember, Benjamin, we hosted the ranking member on Education Committee, not Choi Kutoi. And he was saying that there's already a law that ensures that there's progressively free senior high education. So there's really no need for us to turn this into a law. But let's get into that story just to bring our readers, viewers up to speed. I'll just get to that in a bit. Apenyo marking, why is that story?
Sometimes they mix it up in the papers, but which page did the paper say it would be on?
It said 3, but it's not on 3.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. So you then have to go looking for it.
Yeah, it's right here. So it's on 2 instead. Declare your stance on free SHS bill. The majority leader and leader of the government business in Parliament, Alexander Apenyo Markin, has challenged members of the minority National Democratic Congress to declare their stance on the proposed free SHS bill. And he's also the member of Parliament Swefutu and expressing reservations about the NDC's commitments to free senior high school policy. Now, according to him, the main opposition party's ranking member on education has strongly voiced his side's opposition to the bill. We have had the ranking member on education, yes, Peter Nochukuto, strongly opposing the proposed bill. Clearly, the NDC minority does not want to commit itself to free senior high school. And the fact that we want to enact a law to make it mandatory, so they don't want to commit, but they've already declared their stance. I don't know what the story is saying. But NPP UK raised 23 million Ghana cedis for Bawumia's campaign. The United Kingdom branch of the governing New Patriotic Party, together with Young Executive Forum, have raised 23 million Ghana cedis to support the campaign of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And the funds were raised by the NPP UK branch and the YEF at their fundraiser dinner dance held last Saturday at the Landmark Hotel in central London. We saw some things happening from there. And speaking at the fundraising, Dr. Bawumia expressed his appreciation to the NPP UK and the YEF for their exception. I mean, it's election year. Everyone needs money. So it's good that they're pulling their weight or coming together to raise some funds. They need the money to win, although. Nima Paloma drain, this final story I'll do. Nima Paloma drain reconstruction starts. Minister for Works and Housing, Kojo Nkrumah, has cut sword for the reconstruction of the Nima Paloma storm drain, which runs from Asylum down to Odol Channel. The construction is part of government's efforts to strengthen flood resistance in communities along the Odol River Basin. Speaking at the sword cutting, Mr. Nkrumah commended the officials of Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development, that is GARED project, for the progress made despite delays, which he attributed to compensation packages for those affected. And he explained that the compensation had to be settled before contractors could commence work and cited challenges with a design review process as an additional reason for the project's delays. And I don't know if there's a link there to President Akufo-Addo saying that because of the end of debt restructuring, that stalled projects are going to begin work again. So, Doc, your take. Okay. Right. But Benjamin...
Well, I mean, I don't even know what to say about some of these, but I just want to reflect on this. You know, it was raining this morning.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. I am a bit concerned about our preparedness, especially as we enter this phase of the rainy season. In respect to all of these things that are being mentioned, you know, year after year, we keep talking about, oh, the dredging and everything else will be done. I would be curious to find out, for example, how much has been done up to this point. I think the last time I was following some story that spoke about our lack of preparedness as far as the rains are concerned and all that. That is my real focus. And I've forgotten the statistics. That's what I'm trying to recall. And I don't want to put out what is not there. But all of these projects in the end, how do they feed into matters like that? That's my concern.
I was just trying to fetch the actual figure, but I know some.
I remember I saw something. I've just forgotten.
Gave us some money to tackle flood situations here in Ghana. And
we get money all the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it that we are using these as avenues to make more money because the monies are coming? And if we intended to actually fix the situation, we wouldn't still be here. We saw the first phase of the rains. We've seen the first phase of the rains already. Some floodings, all that happened. And so now I don't know what they're talking about, but. If Dr. Kwame Asasante is back, still not back yet. Okay, so
let's get into other stories.
Yeah, let me move on now to the Ghanaian publisher. The same story of Apenyu Marking challenging minority over free SHS is here. Work on Nima Paloma drains begin. Same story, we've got into it. Mineral Commission refutes Bole MP's claim against Lands Minister. Let's get into that story. The Minerals Commission has dismissed allegations made by the Member of Parliament for Bole Bamboy, Mr. Yusuf Sulemana, against the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Samuel Abujinapo, accusing the Minister of granting mining concessions to foreign entities without proper consultations. A press statement issued by Mr. Martin KEC, the CEO of the CEO of Minerals Commission on Monday, June 24th, and copied to the Ghana News Agency, described the allegations made by the MP for Bole Bamboy as baseless and unfounded, which should not be coming from a lawmaker. The commission emphasized that according to the Mining Act and the Minerals Mining Regulations, no mineral rights could be granted without consulting the relevant persons and institutions affected by the mineral operations. Again, show us the facts. If you really not granted these mining concessions to foreign entities to be mining, there's something you can show us to prove that you are innocent. It's not about making statements to make yourself look good. It's about saying that, okay, he said this. This is the proof. And it's the same with all the issues you're experiencing right now, really.
The other day, I saw a video with Dr. Brian Echampo, for example, with some journalists. And I said, oh, listen, if what is being claimed or the claims that are being made about Rock City are not true, you're not incurring losses and the rest, just show and let yourself have peace. But since then, and then Okudzeto Ablakwa has also come up with other stuff, and let's see, maybe the RTI. But you know, there's a bit of a trend now when it comes to RTI requests.
Yeah.
You will request, all right. They will refuse. Then there's a fine.
The story.
Then there's a fine and all of that. It's so convoluted. I don't know whether the RTI law is serving its purpose. I mean, you remember the airport incident, Ghana airports, many others where the multimedia group has put out requests. They are not living up to expectation. But the president will not see that. He will not comment about that because those things. He'll be commenting about other matters and the rule of law. This is part of the rule of law. The law says, give out the information. They put impediments. Look at what they did to the Fourth Estate on the SML issue. They gave them hard copies. They had 2 billion pages. I'm just joking. Thousands of pages.
Request information, we will give you the information.
Thousands of pages. Go and sift through them. It took them months to deal with. That's how we do things here. And
yeah.
It is what it is.
Our finance minister has been waxing lyrical, Benjamin.
I honestly feel sorry for him.
I didn't think he would be playing
I don't want him to, because so far he's sounded pretty okay and all that. All of a sudden, I don't know who's telling him to start doing this thing. And I listened to him the last time and I was like, what's happening to Dr. Amin Adam?
I like that we are on the same page.
So I stopped listening because I was like, yo, do the work and stop the politics. And immediately I heard economists come and say, no, these figures, what he's saying is this, is not this, it's not that. And actually, because I myself, looking into the figures, I thought, what is he saying? But I guess...
This story here, let me get into the story.
The
Ghanaian publisher, it's on page 6. Ghana's economy will surprise the world this year, according to our finance minister. Ghana's finance minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has declared that the country's economy is experiencing a robust rebound after facing significant challenges in the past 2 years. Quote, this year, our economy is going to surprise the whole world, Dr. Amin Adam said at a UK town hall meeting on Saturday. I can tell you that this economy is rebounding strongly. We are rebounding strongly, and it is surprising the whole world, even the IMF and the World Bank. They are all surprised. I am surprised too, Mr. Minister. Last year, they projected our economy will grow at 1.5%. We grew at 2.9%. This year, in the first quarter of this year, they projected we will grow at 3.1%. We have grown at 4.7%, and it goes on and on. And the last time he was saying that comparatively, because the CD is doing better than last year, the CD is still strong. We are not actually facing any financial crisis. We are on track, and our economy will surprise everyone. Dr. Kwame Asante, our finance minister is saying that our economy will surprise the world this year. And so they're doing so well, and they've grown past their mark. Those are, I'll take your final remark on that, and then we'll move to Benjamin.
Yes, I think it's heartwarming to hear that from the minister, because he is the man behind the driver's wheel, right? But I also want to find out what he's saying. What are we feeling in our pockets? We are not economists, but we understand economic theory. Just dip your hands into your pocket and you can fully understand even all that Adam Smith said, including what the minister is saying. So it's just a matter of time. The reality we will know. So we've already experienced that. And for me, no change has been experienced. I'm sorry because I went off.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll get into Benjamin.
I experienced doomsaw in my house. And I had to turn on my genset.
Doc, you had doomsaw. You had doomsaw in your house.
It is doomsaw, pure and simple.
Oh.
They can call it any other thing, but I know it's doomsaw. Yes. We will move on. But back to the issue of free SHS bill. I'm not sure the NDC has said that they will not support that bill. They've said it, and Sweetie, you were right on that. They've said it. So I don't know where this is coming from. Because all that they are saying that there are problems associated with free SHS, and nobody can doubt this. The evidence are there for the world to see. A good policy, but it needs to be evaluated and then make sure that the necessary input is injected into the policy to make it strong. That is all. Because already, if you read Article 25, 1B, it says secondary education in its different forms, including technical and vocational education, shall be made generally available and accessible to all by every appropriate means, and in particular, by the progressive introduction of free education.
Right.
This is in black and white, right? So all that you do is to strengthen this. There are problems with the policy. Look at it, examine it, evaluate the public policy. If you look at the policy cycle, at the end of the day, you need to be able to evaluate the policy and then decide to either improve the policy or throw it away.
Right.
So this is a good policy. Let them improve it, and then it stays. The bill, I don't understand it. It's very, very unnecessary. The right things we need to do, we know them. Let's do them. and forget about all the unnecessary things. The necessary things are that we need infrastructure. We need what? Logistics. We need resources to drive this beautiful program to fruition.
All right, Doc.
All right. Doc, so I'm going to go very quickly through these papers with the headlines because some of the stories we already know, and then we'll take them from there. Okay. I'll start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. 2024 elections. I'll safeguard Ghana's democracy, President pledges ahead of December 7 polls. And just a quick swipe at what he says, and the rest I will just gloss over. So he is saying, he said the choice of a leader remained the unreserved and unqualified exercise of the sovereign will of the population, and he would ensure that the election reflects same. The president gave the assurance during the farewell call of the Apostolic Nuncio, Most Reverend Henrik, his other names are very, on him at the Jubilee House in Accra on Monday. Well, that is the story, though that sounds a certain way when you listen to his rhetoric in the past. I will hand over to my vice president, that sort of rhetoric. But 84,263 candidates involved in exam malpractices in past 3 years, that's according to WAEC, and don't abolish death penalty for all. Intentional murderers do not deserve to live, First Deputy Speaker insists. I don't know what your take is on that, but let me quickly add these ones, and then you can reflect on any ones you want to talk about. Bediatu Asante is ambassador at large. It used to be Dr. Edward Mahama. I don't know whether it's both of them. I don't know whether Dr. Mahama is still ambassador at large, though. And I hear he's adding that to his role as executive secretary to the president. Then NDC not committed to free SHS bill. Afenyo Markin, you were just talking about that. Spartan Eves debunks Ablakwe's baseless claims, and that has to do with Ablakwe's claim about, I think, the beachfront and the management of Labadi Beach Hotel. All those stories in the Daily Guide newspaper. Which ones would you like to reflect on, Doc?
I will touch on, I will support democracy. Good call, but we need to go beyond this. Democracy is always strengthened when you create the enabling environment for it to exist. So I'll expect my president to be able to do that the necessary environment will be created. And certain comments would also not be thrown out there, right? That I'll hand over to my flag bearer and whatnot. It's the people who will decide, because power springs from the sovereign will of the people, no other person except what the people. So who will decide? But we want an enabling environment. We want what? Peaceful environment. We want Electoral Commission to be able to do its work. We want them to say bye-bye to what? The rejoinders that they send to what? The results that they churn out.
Right.
Like what? Declaring results and come out to write a rejoinder to it. We don't want that. And we want all the stakeholders to have equal space to operate as a political party or as political entities, so that we will have free and fair elections. Yeah.
All right. Let me just wrap with these headlines. Two papers. The New Finder, NPP UK YEF raised £1.2 million to support Dr. Bawumia's campaign. That's an interesting story. You can grab a copy of the paper to get details of that. NPP UK and YEF. They are the ones raising the £1.2 million. Okay. Biased credit ratings hurt Ghana's economy, Professor Agboyo says. A University of Ghana Business School lecturer, Professor Elikpimi Komla Agboyo, has attributed Ghana's economic challenges to unfair credit ratings from international ratings agencies. In an interview with Z Business after Professor Agboyo cited a UN Development Program study which revealed that Africa could save $75 billion annually if credit ratings were more objective. I mean, there has been that conversation, but how about we ourselves and what we do, like our wanton borrowing that has led us into where we find ourselves? Yes, there is that, but how about we ourselves? Do we do ourselves any favors? 2024 election, we have to address mistrust in the EC. That's according to Professor Abochi. And then Bank of Ghana spent $688.8 million to print money. ECD rollout can reduce this cost considerably. That's in the New Finder. And the Economy Times, almost half of Ghanaians enduring severe poverty. That's according to a Ghana Statistical Service report. And then petroleum revenue plummets 25% amidst declining production. Doc? We have to go, but your final thoughts.
Yes, I will touch on the fact that we are wallowing in abject poverty. It's unfortunate. This country is blessed with all human and natural resources to be able to turn its fortunes round. So why are we rich and yet poor? It is unfortunate. Our leaders must begin to work and work very fast to address these problems head on.
Doc, it's been great having your company. And thank you that even after you had your Doom CSC, even after you had your Doom CSC, you were able to join us again.
Thank you. It is Doom so, nothing more.
Anyway.